4 cities, hundreds of fights, viral moments that shaped the internet and the culture forever. And now it's over. Yeah, y'all. Love and Hip Hop franchise is officially over, y'all. Yeah, so they have decided to pull the plug on the Love and Hip Hop franchise. That's the Love and Hip Hop New York, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, and Love and Hip Hop Miami. Yeah, so we are so sad to see them go. All right, so we have Love and Hip Hop, my Atlanta, right? They're finishing out their season, and then they're gonna do like a farewell episode in the fall on VH1, where they're gonna be bringing back all of your memorable cast members from Love and Hip Hop New York, Love and Hip Hop Miami, Hollywood, Atlanta, right? And so have like a farewell season in the fall on VH1. All right, because it's been over 15 years where they have been on TV, y'all. TV. I can't believe that it's been that long. It seems like only yesterday we were seeing Chrissy and Kim Michelle and K Michelle and Kim Bella and all them twirl about and cut up and fight, baby, and throw them blows. All right, go toe to toe. Right. It has been a whirlwind, and I can't believe it has already been 15 years since Love and Hip Hop started on TV. But unfortunately, y'all, TV is not the same as we talked about with Sherry Shepherd and her show ending, like the talk shows and everything like that going away. The TV is not the same, right? Everything is online, everything is on the social media apps. So the world is ever evolving. And so they're going to have to pivot themselves away from TV production into producing themselves on these apps, the Twitters, the IG, the TT, the YT, right? The FB. Okay. Everybody has to get on the social media apps where all the action is happening, right? But yeah, y'all. So 15 years, 4 cities, viral fights, viral moments, and it is now over. They have decided to pull the plug on Love and Hip Hop franchise, right? Okay. And as we know, Love and Hip Hop franchise, it has launched careers, right? So the biggest person that we know has their career launch was Cardi B. Cardi B was on Love and Hip Hop New York. I remember her when she first was on Love and Hip Hop, and she was trying to come as a rapper, and she was doing her raps, and she was out there trying to promote herself to the producer self and Rich and everything, and they was talking cold hard trash about old girl Flo and her rap skills, right? Say she wasn't about nothing, but look at her now. Had they believed in Cardi B when she was first on Love and Hip Hop New York, she could have took the producers DJ Self and Richie Rich with her to the top. But no, they talk trash about that girl on Love and Hip Hop New York. But look at her now, selling out concerts, right? Doing multi city tours, right? She's a multi-millionaire, but she started out humble beginnings on Love and Hip Hop New York, right? So it has launched careers. Also, another person who used Love and Hip Hop to launch or revive their career is K Michelle. Y'all know K Michelle, the beautiful R&B singer, but now has turned into a country singer, right? So she's trying to revive her career. So we've known her all throughout the early 2000s, beautiful songstress, the yodeler, right, can sing, but now she's trying to revive her career by utilizing Love and Hip Hop when she was on I Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Then she went to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Now she's on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So she's using these platforms in the right way to propel her career. Right. Also, if you remember the podcaster Jason Lee, Jason Lee, he's now a councilman in California now, but he also does have his podcast on YouTube as well. Yeah, Jason Lee, he was on Love and Hip Hop New York. Humble beginnings. I'm telling you, a lot of people started off at Love and Hip Hop New York. Hi, James Money 15615. Thank you so much for coming on in. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, comment, and share your girl out. Yeah, so yeah. Jason Lee. once again, he has his podcast. He got signed on by P Diddy. He got his podcast and everything, but then he did win his councilman seat in California. So he's a councilman as well. So he's climbed the ranks over there. Joseline Hernandez, all right, okay, the Puerto Rican princess, okay, Love and Hip Hop. She started out on the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta franchise. Okay, she came in as the love interest, the girlfriend of Stevie J, and they had the whole battle between her and Mimi, his other baby mother, with Stevie J, right? So it was the whole issue. She was a rapper, she was an entertainer, okay? Humble beginnings on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Now she has flourished into her own superstardom, right? On Zeus Network, right? Okay, she has all her different shows and platforms, and maybe she got all the drama going on right now between her and Lemmy, allegedly. So, she's a whole show just by herself, right? So you've got all of the likes of those who came up with the Love and Hip Hop franchise, and they have made themselves household names, okay, just by coming up on this franchise. But yeah, sadly, y'all, after 15 years, it is now going to end, right? Okay, so like I said, they launched careers, they've destroyed relationships, as we've seen. It's hard having a public relationship on Love and Hip Hop on these reality TV shows. Y'all remember Erica Mena and Safari, right? They got married, they had children. They've been on, started off Love and Hip Hop New York with Erica Mena. Safari, Love and Hip Hop New York. Then they moved into Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, okay, had the beautiful kids, but the marriage fell apart right in front of our eyes on TV. Welcome, Henry. Thank you so much for coming on in. I appreciate you. But yeah, so Love and Hip Hop is most definitely coming to a end, right? Coming to an end. Okay. And we are so sad about it because, like we said, Cardi B, like we said, Joseline Hernandez, like we said, Jason Lee, okay? All of those individuals, K. Michelle, have used this platform to propel to the next level, right? Okay, to propel to the next level, right? So creating memes, all right? You had a lot of different memes coming out of these platforms, right? We also see underground artists, like we said, the Jocelyn Hernandez of them all, underground artists coming to the top. Okay, Cardi B, underground artists, now household names, right? We all know Cardi B. Okay, y'all know Jocelyn Hernandez. Okay, these TV shows propelled them into the next level for their careers, right? Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. Always pretty. It wasn't glamorous, right? They really, really went on TV and showed the world their lives, showed the world their children, showed the world the messiness of their relationships, right? Okay. They really, really brawled and they really was 10 toes down on these platforms and showed us their real lives. And we were in it. We were with them, right? We was really with them through the whole time, right? But the question is why? Why is this Love and Hip Hop franchise coming to an end? We want to know why. Why is the franchise coming to an end? What is it? Okay, a lot of people could say it's starting to get into fake storylines, right? Okay, so a lot of storylines are becoming fake. You're having people coming up with these fake relationships, right? To where they have fiancés, to where they're coming in with boyfriend girlfriend relationships, and we're like, how in the world did that happen? Where did this relationship come from, right? So you got the Shay Johnson, as we know her from Flavor of Flav, Bucky, right? She's got all these different relationships on Real Housewives, not Real Housewives, but Love and Hip Hop Miami. Okay, she's got that, and she's been with Scrappy. So it's like, either relationship's real or is it for TV, right? Okay, you see Scrappy with the different baby mamas. Are the relationship real or is it for TV? Right, so you can't really distinguish on what's happening on the stories, because you feel like people are bringing people on just so they can get a storyline, just so they can get a check, but we don't feel the authenticity of these relationships, right? And then the audience is ever changing. All right. They say hip hop is dead. What y'all say? They say hip hop is dead. So y'all know hip hop, the early 90s, the 2000s, right? That's hip hop era was big. The younger generation, right? Do they not have a connection with the cast members, right? Do they not have a connection with the Jim Jones? They don't have a connection, all right, with the Olivias, the connection with the little Scrappies, okay? Because that wasn't their era. So they may feel like, oh, I'm not going to watch because I don't know any of these cast members. I didn't grow up listening to their music, right? So there may be a disconnect with the younger audience. People like me, baby, the 99 and the 2000s, okay? We was all in it. We was here for all of the hip hop music, right? The rappers, the singers, the R&B, the artists, right? That was a time, okay? That was a time. So I do resonate with a lot of the cast members because I remember their music. I remember going to concerts, all right, when they were in their primes. I remember their songs coming on the radio, right? So for me, it's nostalgia. For me, it's like it's very relatable to me. So the audience, the younger people, right, in their 20s, okay, they may not can relate to a love and hip hop because that's not their era. They may not, they're too young to really appreciate the music and the artists, okay, and of that time. So could be the changing of the audience. Another thing, social media. Social media has forever changed TV, right? So we talked about is daytime TV dead? So we talked about with the Sherry Shepherd losing her show, right? That's daytime TV. Okay, who's home watching the NBCs, the ABCs, the CBSs, okay, the Foxes, the networks during the day, right? The younger people, they're on their phones, they're on the apps, right? They're looking at the YTs, they're looking at the TTs, okay? They're looking at IG, okay? They're looking at all of that. They're looking at X. They're looking at the social media apps versus the actual networks, the TVs. So social media is making a huge impact on the way we view TV, right? So if they're all on networks, they're on the VH1s, they're on the MTVs, they're on the BETs, if they're all on networks, right? And they're and all of the young people, the audience is on their apps, they're missing a huge audience that is not tuned in because they're all on their phone looking at what's coming on YT, right? Oh, we got a special coming on YT. I got to be here for this live, right? I got to be here for this TT live. I got to be here for the IG streaming that's happening. They're not in tune onto what's coming on. They're not turning on their TVs. Do they even have TVs? Do young people have TVs, right? Hey, do they even purchase cable anymore? No. They get the apps, right? They get their subscriptions. Times are changing with the social media, right? And also the cast members, the stars themselves. Have they outgrown the show that made them famous? So we got to think about it. 15 years, right? Are they still in the same limelight as they once were when they were popping and things were hype, right? Kids are grown. Okay. They had little babies or maybe young children at the time. They were out there touring. They were out there making hits and songs 10, 15 years ago. Now their music career has changed. Their music career has shifted. They're no longer married to the same person anymore. Maybe they're divorced. Okay, maybe they're out of the music business. Maybe they're on the other side of it with producing, right? Maybe they are retired, okay, and taking a different approach to life and their career. Where are they now? With the status, has the stars outgrown the drama of it all, right? Okay, like we said, it was knucking and bucking on those shows, right? Every time you turn around, they went to some event. There was always some type of altercation. There was always some type of argument. There was always some type of drama that was always happening. As you get older and evolve and your relationships change, most definitely you grow away from it, you grow apart from it, so they don't have those same issues with the baby mother anymore, right? The children are grown, so that relationship, that connection is severed, so they don't have the back and forth of how we're going to co-parent with the children anymore, right? Okay, they're growing up, they're moving apart, so a lot of that could be the stars themselves. They are outgrowing the show, right? A lot of that could be. Right, so we're gonna break down some of the reasons why Love and Hip Hop, the franchise, right? Yeah, 15 years, y'all, is ending. Who could save the franchise? If there's a little glimmer of hope, some of the stars that could save the franchise, right? And which cast members are powerful enough to build the next reality TV empire? Who can get their own spinoffs from some of the Love and Hip Hop New York, Atlanta, Miami, Hollywood, some of the top cast members that could get their own spinoffs to be like, you know what, I will watch that because they're still popping, they still have some interesting lives. We want to see where they're at now, right? And so it's the fall of an empire. Yeah, it's the fall of an empire, right? So 15 years, Love and Hip Hop franchise here has now come to an end. The network has decided that they're going to no longer air them on network, right? So it's going to go away. But Love and Hip Hop used to be that show, right? This to be a back to back, back to back, back to back. I remember Love and Hip Hop New York was the first show that used to come on, right? So they had their episodes, right? And then you had to get geared up because they would show a little clip of the next one, which would be Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Okay, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood would come in after, and then you baby they round them out. You have those seasons coming in, so New York will be wintertime, okay, and then Love and Hip Hop Hollywood will come in for the spring, and baby, we can get ready for the summertime with Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, baby. They will hold you down for the summer, and then for the fall, we will round it back out with Miami, right? So we had it back to back to back to back, right, with the Love and Hip Hop franchise. We was never bored. We knew what was always coming on. Our TV was always in tune. We had our DVRs geared up to record it if we were gonna miss it coming on. We was always prepared. We had those watch parties, all right, for the Love and Hip Hop, right? We had the confessionals. We was always it was a time. A time was had with Love and Hip Hop franchises, right? So it began back in 2011. Hi, welcome, welcome, Miss Mika. Thank you so much for coming on in, Queen. Make sure you like, comment, and share your girl out. Yeah, so we're talking about the ending of the Love and Hip Hop franchise. Yeah. And who can bring the franchise back? Who can survive a spinoff and would you watch it? Right. And so just the memorable moments from Love and Hip Hop, right? The New York, the Atlanta, the Miami, and Hollywood, right? But I remember they started with New York first, right? Now, Love and Hip Hop New York started back in 2011, right? Okay, in the Big Apple, New York. And then Mona Lisa Scott, she expanded it out to Atlanta, Hollywood, and then Miami was the last franchise that she expanded it out to, right? Okay, all right, and it was most definitely a very influential TV show. Like I said, I stayed glued to it. I knew when they were coming on. I had my DVR set. If I ever missed the episode, I was gonna be able to record it and watch it. I've been trying to catch up, Mika. And I feel so bad now that they are ending. I feel so bad because I have fallen off. I've fallen off with the Love and hip hop franchise, right? I believe the last time I was watching, with the Kirk and Rashida with their drama and him having a baby on Rashida, all right, with Jasmine. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that was a time, right? With Rashida and Kirk Frost, and then him having a baby on Rashida, his wife, with the girl Jasmine. And he had Jasmine living in one of his condos right up under Rashida's nose, and she didn't know it the whole time that the little boy was Kirk's. Like it was just a whole mess, right? So I believe that was like the last time I really, really watched the episodes here. I've been seeing clips here and there, but as far as being invested in watching the shows, it has been a couple years for me with Love and Hip Hop as well, right? Okay. But yeah, we became addicted. We did. We really did. We became addicted. I've been watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Yes, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Yeah, that was the one I ended off on. Like I said, I started with Love and Hip Hop New York. That was my show with Chrissy and Jim Jones and Mama Jones, Kim Bella. Yes, Remy Ma. Yes, I started off with the original in New York. Richie Rich, Erica Mena. Yeah, like the old school people that started off in New York, right? And then Atlanta became my next favorite. I loved Atlanta. Atlanta was pretty good with Little Scrappy, his baby mama Erica Dixon, and then he married Bambi, and that was a mess. Of course, Rashida and Kirk with their mess, with all the cheating and the baby having the baby on her. It was a lot. It was a lot going on. Young Jock with Carly Red, and then the new wife. It was a mess. Kendra, it was a mess. Yes, absolutely, right. We became addicted. We really did. We became addicted to those shows, right? Because, like I said, I knew when they were coming on. We had watch parties. Okay, we had to make sure we had the DVR set if I missed an episode because I had to go back and watch it. It was real, yeah, because they had real relationships. Chrissy and Jim Jones. You remember her proposing to Jim Jones? She got down on her knee and proposed to Jim Jones. Like it was real relationships, right? All she wanted, all Christy wanted from Jim Jones was for that man to marry her and make her Mrs. Jones. All those years, she never had any children with him, but she wanted to be Mrs. Jones, right? And the dynamic between her and his mama, it was so rocky between Jim Jones, Miss Mama Jones, and Chrissy. Like it was crazy, really crazy, right? Kim Bella and Chrissy, their brawl, their fight, and Chrissy's not Chrissy, but Kim Bella was like, "I'm still pretty" after the rumble. And the baby, the fights they had, Chrissy was like, "Girl, I'm gonna tear you down." And Kim Bella like, "I'm still pretty" after that fight. She was. She still was pretty after she had to get whooped, but she held her own against Chrissy, baby. But she got dragged and whooped and pulled. But she was like, "I'm still pretty." Kim Bella knew she was something else. I stopped watching when Kurt had that baby on her. Ooh, Mika. Mika, I was through. I was through. And then it kept going on and on and on. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, listen, are we going to ever grow from this? Are we ever going to get counseling on this? Are we ever going to say, okay, enough is enough? Like Rashida, like how about you going to sit here and take on this here show, like episode after episode, year after year? This man keep going back and cheating on you, and this man bringing a baby on you. Like we tired, baby. If you ain't tired, we tired. It was too much. It was too much. Yeah, and when she did the final episode, the reunion, and she was like, "This man broke me." I was done. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like Rashida, she fell in her mama lap and she was boohoo crying so bad, but like, "This man has broke me," and I'm like, "No, mm-mm, this is enough." Like this lady is being humiliated, embarrassed on national TV. I know the money good, but it can't be this good. Like your mental health, your dignity, like, ma'am, we're gonna have to come up and live up off this show. But here she is, she's still on the show, and they're still going through with the infidelity, they're still going through with with Jasmine and the baby mama. Like, girl, how much money y'all making from this show? Because it's pretty crazy. Yeah, then was the good days. Yeah, Mika. Yeah, that was the really good days, right? Yeah, like we saw real relationships, real music industry struggles, right? Erica Mena, on Love and Hip Hop New York, she was trying to get her record deal, honey, trying to date Rich. She was trying to get her record deal. Olivia, struggling R&B artist, trying to make it. Remy Ma, showing her self, being vulnerable as a rapper as well, right? It was very raw. Cardi B, she was on Love and Hip Hop New York, right? It was real raw. It was real. Saying DJ Self and Rich was like, "Oh, she's trash," right? Her lyrics are trash. Okay, she ain't got no good rap flow. I know they regret those words today. Had they stayed 10 toes behind old girl, right? They could have been at the top with her, but no. They put her down. But look where she's at now, right? It was real raw. Okay, real fights, real relationships, baby. The drama was hot on Love and Hip Hop franchises, right? Really real. And then the thing about it was, it showed other artists that you can blow up from these platforms. Cardi B was the prime example, right? Humble beginnings, humble beginnings. She came on that show, showed who she was, exposed herself. She came in saying, she was a stripper, but she's trying to show that she had rapping skills, all of that, right? And she was able to blow herself up by coming on those shows and showing how vulnerable she was. Hi, Glam Decor. Thank you so much for coming on in, Queen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, y'all, we're talking about the end of Love and Hip Hop franchise. Yes, New York, Atlanta, Miami, Hollywood, all of those will be ending. They're going to be doing a farewell season in the fall on BH1, where they're going to be bringing out different artists. Here, Cardi B, Joseline Hernandez, giving their take on the seasons that they were on, where they're at now, and how the show impacted their life. So I'm going to be looking forward to the farewell season. That's gonna be in the fall, coming up on VH1 for Love and Hip Hop. Yeah, yeah. Also, another one that came out of the trenches, baby, was Joseline Hernandez, the Puerto Rican princess, right? She became a viral icon, right? Hi, Maid. Y'all remember her and Stevie J, baby mama. What was her name? Lord, Mimi. Yeah, Mimi. Yeah, that was her. So Stevie J, baby mama Mimi, and the Puerto Rican princess Joseline Hernandez. That was a battle. That was a battle, right? Okay, both of them fighting over Stevie J. Both of them battling for the time to be on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Who gonna be the queen of Stevie J's heart? That was a battle. But Joseline Hernandez, she came out on top. She's on Zeus Network. She still got the drama going on with her and Lemmy, one of her producers of Zeus. But yeah, she's a viral icon, right? Came on there, showcased herself, and she rose to the top. I heard Alexis Sky girlfriend supposed to have stole her ex-girlfriend grandma credit card. Child, Mika, now Alexis Sky now Alexis Sky, don't she have a commercial out here for a call center? Something that's going on. I said, child, what is going on with Alexa Sky? She got some mess going on too. Yes, absolutely. It's always something. Like I tell you, it's always some drama happening on Love and Hip Hop, right? You can never have a dull moment. It's always something popping off. Also, another heavy hitter, K Michelle, right? Okay, the diva, right? She was R&B. She has those beautiful songs, R&B we known her for, but now she's crossed over the country, right? She was on Love and Hip Hop New York. Then she went to Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, and she ended up on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Now she done moved franchises and she's on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So K Michelle, no exposure. She knows how to keep her checks rolling in. She knows what these networks can do for your career. So she's staying relevant year after year after year, right? Because she's keeping herself in front of audiences, in front of people to listen to her music, right? Because all we know, the music industry is different. How they make music is different, right? How to get paid is different. So she's learned to stay in front of an audience to keep people eyes on her, whether it's drama or not, right? She's gonna keep the people on her. So she always had the battle between Rashida Kirk on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's got the battle going on between her and Portia. And then, of course, she's telling her story. What's happening to her with the botched BBL, where she put the illegal silicone in her body. So she's telling her story on Housewives of Atlanta. So she knows how to work these here platforms, right? So we ain't mad at her. So she knows what to do. So everybody was supposed to come out here and get a bag and work these platforms how they're supposed to work them. And K Michelle is most definitely doing that, right? Now, and the one thing about Love and Hip Hop franchise, this franchise, we really could believe them, right? We really could believe this is how they were living. We really could believe that Remy Ma was a rapper in New York. And with her and Papoose. We could believe it. We really could believe Erica Mena was trying to get her a record deal by trying to date Richie Rich, right? We could believe it. We really could believe Chrissy and Kimbella was fighting and had issues with each other, and Jim Jones and Chrissy relationship was up and down, and was he ever going to marry this girl? We could believe it, and the issues with Mama Jones and Chrissy, we could believe it. Like we really could believe these relationships on this Love and Hip Hop, like it was really real, right? Yeah, it really was real. Yeah. So one thing why Love and Hip Hop franchise, I believe, is ending is social media, right? Social media has replaced TV. Like we talked about, TV, daytime TV is dead, right? We talked about what her name, Sherry Shepherd. Her show is ending, and she's got to find her another platform to go on. YT, TT, IG, right? X, something she has to do to replace TV because daytime TV is dead. Social media is replacing the networks, right? People are on their phones more than they are watching TV. Every time you see someone, someone has their phone on, right? So that means they're either on IG, FB, TT, YT, they're watching something on their devices, right? Okay, so social media is replacing TV. Reality TV, we used to watch it to get the tea. We used to watch it to see what's happening with the celebrities. We used to watch it to find out, oh my goodness, is this happening next? But now celebrities are coming on IG and they're coming on TT, and they're exposing their own issues. They're exposing their own tea on the apps, right? So why am I going to watch it on TV when I can just go to my apps on my phone, IG, TT, and see them expose themselves on the social media apps? We get the information on the app before we do watching the show. Right. Hi, Florida with she. Thank you so much, Queen, for coming on in. Make sure you like, comment, and share your girl out. Yeah, so we're talking about the ending of the franchise, Love and Hip Hop. They are ending after 15 years. New York, Atlanta, Miami, Hollywood, all those are ending. They're going to be doing a farewell season in the fall here. So we're trying to figure out why. Why is it ending? Why is the franchise ending? And what could be the cause of it, right? So we're talking about social media, right? Is the new norm. Everybody's on their apps on their phone. Everybody is looking at the social media, not on TV no more, right? So celebrities, they're exposing themselves on the apps. So they're doing doing IG lives. They're doing IG lives. So they're gonna come live and they're gonna say, hey y'all, this is what's going on with me. So we're getting real time tea with relationships, real time tea with their music, real time tea with what's happening. We don't have to wait until a whole of the week to see what's going on in their world for a 30-minute or an hour show, right? Hi, Capital D Jewel. Thank you so much for coming on in. Make sure you like, comment, and share your girl out. Can't wait to see the replacement. Yes, yes. I'm wondering what it will be, right? Okay, we want to see what's next. What is up for the future? Yeah, absolutely. What's next for the future? Okay, y'all know TT keep drama going on. Y'all want to know what's happening in the world? Go to TT, baby. They know everything. Soon as it hit the airwaves, soon as it hit these social media streets, TT have it first. So if you want to know what's going on, all the celebrity news and tea is on TT, right? Okay. Also, the podcasters on YT. Okay. You want to know what's going on, the interviews. They already have the interviews on what's happening out here in the world. You missed it on TV with the trial with Stefan Diggs and his private chef. The podcasters already got the interviews, already got the segments up, already got the tea, already got the line by line, the line bits, the funny moments already broken down for you, right? If you missed it, a podcaster already got it on YT for you, broken it down, letting you know the highlights so you can have some discussions about it, right? So we're already getting it in real time on YT podcast. So we're not able to sit and wait or don't want to sit and wait for an episode to come on with some old news, some old tea when I want hot and juicy gossip right now, right? Yeah, right now. and the ex fuse, baby, they be going back and forth. They say the drama and the juice is in the comments, right? They say the drama and the juice is in the comment. So her own ex, everybody's feuding over there. Um, what was it? K Michelle on Real Housewives of Atlanta called Portia a bimbo, right? She went on X and went on a tirade and called Portia a bimbo, and she was like, "Now, where did that come from?" I thought we had already squashed what we had an argument about. We hugged it out. We said our pleasantries. We said, okay, we're going to move forward with this friendship and we're going to keep going. However, on X, right, you're telling a different story. Okay. X have all the feuds and all the battles over there, right? All the juicy gossips. Okay. That's over there. People are feuding in the comments, right? That's where all the good juice is at. Fans are no longer waiting for the next episodes to come next week. We want a day by day, real time happening. What's going on in these streets? Let me go to TT. Let me go to X and see what's popping off. Right? Because I heard there was a some drama happening between these two. Let me see who said what, when, where, how, all of that, right? People's like, I want real time news, right? They own it. TT, the podcasters, everybody's reporting on it in real time, right? You get the drama instantly, not like how it was back in the day with Love and Hip Hop, where we waiting a week to see what happened. Oh, I can't wait until next week to see what happened next, right? You don't have to wait no more. Everything is happening in real time on the social media apps. So the way the audience is reacting and wants the information has changed. So that's probably leading up to why these franchises are ending as well. Just the way of the world and how the audience is viewing TV nowadays, right? It's changing. Right. So Cardi B, she comes on IG, all right, weekly, and she doesn't need to be on the platform on Love and Hip Hop. Okay. She doesn't have to come on Love and Hip Hop to tell us what's happening with her and her world and her tours and with her children and her dating life, right? She comes right on IG Live and she gives us real time updates. Like, y'all coming to my tours? Like, this is what's happening with me. I'm in the kitchen cooking. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to wait until next week episode to see what's happening. She's already coming on IG, exposing her life and exposing her world to us and letting us in on what's happening. So we're getting it real live on IG with a lot of these celebrities now, right? A lot of it. Now, a lot of the storylines we feel like are being forced, right? Fake relationships. Y'all remember on Real Housewives of Atlanta when Kenya came in with a guy that she was supposed to be dating, and they were like, "Oh, she hired him," right? A lot of people are bringing in people they're dating, right? We see Drew has a guy named Black on Real Housewives of Atlanta this season. Okay, is it forced? Right? Is it something to get the attention off of the divorce that you don't want to talk about with you and your husband? Right? You see Candy quit the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? People are saying she quit because she didn't want to talk about that divorce that was coming up. She didn't want the cameras to see her getting a divorce from her husband. Well, rightfully so. You want to keep some things private because they would have been there, right? Every step of the way interviewing her. What's going on? What's happening with the kids? Okay, what's the battle between you and Todd? His view on it. They're interviewing him. Like, it would have been good ratings on TV, but most definitely don't want to expose that part of their life, right? So a lot of people are producing fake relationships, right? A lot of fake fights, a lot of fake arguments to kind of prolong some drama when you really don't have no drama going on, like between Portia and Kelly on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Manufactured fights where Portia is talking about, "Oh, I heard you were sleeping with a married man," and Kelly is looking at her all puzzled, like, "What are you talking about? Like, I've never slept with a married man." And Portia was like, "Oh, I got receipts. I'm the receipt." I didn't believe that for 1 minute that Portia actually thought Kelly was sleeping with a married man, but it was just some conversation, some tea to judge up to get the ratings hype, right? Because you don't want to really talk about the real things that's happening. Okay. And Kelly don't want to talk about the divorce she's going through with her husband. Portia don't want to talk about the divorce she just went through with Simon and the interlapping of her dating Simon while he still was married to Fallon when Fallon was pregnant with her um now husband. The mess, allegedly, the mess, right? You don't want to talk about what really people really want to know. So you're bringing up fake fights. Yeah, fake fights and fake arguments and fake relationships and manufactured drama because you don't really want to talk about what's really happening out here. Yeah, glam. Yeah, yeah, you really don't want to talk about it, okay? So viewers, we're smart, right? We know what's up. Like the people are starting to come out to say, a lot of this stuff looking manufactured. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, we want to talk about the real stuff that's out here happening, right? Like, what's really going on in the relationship, right? What's going on with this divorce, Drew? Y'all got all this mess going on. You done lost custody of the children. How come you're not talking about it on the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Okay, the husband is in the basement. Okay, now you getting kicked out the house. Let's talk about it. Where you living at? Where you and your older son going? We want to talk about the real drama that's happening, but you're talking about everything else except for the real stuff that's going on, right? Okay, so and people are saying the stories on the shows are becoming too scripted, right? We was like, we used to see real life happening. Remy Ma, real life with the music world, her getting out of prison, her and Papoose trying to navigate her career coming back out in the limelight, right? Cardi B trying to get out here and get her name out here, being real in the dating world. Erica Mena, right? It was really real. Like these girls were in the trenches, really trying to live, trying to get their careers and move about in this world. But we're not really seeing that because everybody want to bring fake relationships on, like Kenya did with her man. Girl, everybody trying to get fake drama when there is none because they're trying to cover up the facade that they have going on. Also with what's her name? Y'all know the lawyer, Phaedra. Phaedra, right? She will not go into her personal world, right? She won't talk about what she had going on between her and Apollo. We really didn't get into the nitty gritty of Apollo and her divorce and her relationship. She really kept that out of the reality world, right? She only gave us bits and pieces of it. So really not actually exposing it. So people are feeling like it's starting to get scripted. Okay. Just random cast beefs popping up here and there. Nothing really solid that's happening. We want you to get into when you and Portia and Shamia, what really happened? Why their friendship really broke up, right? She said Shamia did something very horrible, dirty to her. Let's get into the nitty gritty of it. What really happened between Portia and Shamia, right? But they're not talking about it. Let's get into it. Now that would be some good tea. What really happened? Why y'all don't talk no more? So y'all was friends since like elementary school. Okay, that was a long-standing friendship. Now Shamia has a peach and a place on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, all of a sudden now y'all not best of pals no more. What happened? Is it a problem that she has a peach? Did you only want her to be a friend of the show? It's a lot happening, right? Okay. People having fake music showcases. Go ahead and take us on tour, right? We don't want to see no fake music showcases. Go ahead and take us on tour. Okay. We want to see the tours. Go ahead and if you're in the music world, show us the behind the scenes when you in the studio, right? Let's see how you're setting up your contracts. Okay. Let us know the real happenings in the world, right? We missed all of that in the love and hip hop world. Okay. It's a lot of fake relationships, a lot of fake drama, but it's love and hip hop. Where's the hip hop? Where's the music? Where is the artistry? That's supposed to be a part of hip hop. That we were missing that on there. Yes, it's like I like to know. Exactly, Glam. Yeah. Okay. We want to really know. We really want to know the real deal on what's happening, right? Okay. Reality TV dies when audiences stop believing, right? And we don't believe, we're like, oh man, you know what? Y'all going on and on and on about the same thing over and over. We done been talking about the same situation for 3 years now, and we still going round and round in a circle, and we haven't come to a conclusion or a resolution, okay, about it yet. Now y'all dragging it out. Y'all dragging it out for views, right? Now, Once stars become mainstream, like Cardi B, another reason why the franchise are failing as well. Once it become mainstream, the stars they want to leave. So after Cardi B got her footing out there and she became a multi-millionaire rapper, Vamoose, peace. She's out of there, right? She's no longer associated with the Love and Hip Hop New York franchise anymore. She's not coming back on the platform because now she has to protect her brand. Now she has to tour. Now she has to move differently. She can't get into fights with the other stars, right? Lawsuits could happen. She can't go out there and box Erica Mena, or say certain things, defamation, lawsuits, different things could start to happen. So now you really got to take it to a new level, right? You have to move away from those type of shows and really, really think about your career. Yes, Cardi made it big. Yes, Glam. She really did. She really made it big, right? If you are able to go back and watch some of those first episodes with Love and Hip Hop New York, she has come a long way, right? Humble beginnings on when she started on Love and Hip Hop New York. Yeah. So she has become too big for reality TV chaos, right? She cannot put herself in these predicaments where someone may say allegedly, well, Cardi B said they saw you at such and such house and you allegedly was with such and such man. She cannot put herself in those predicaments, right? She has a whole brand and a whole reputation that she has to defend and live up to. She no longer can do that. Remy Ma evolved beyond the franchise drama, right? So y'all know after she came out of prison and everything, she went into Love and Hip Hop New York as well, and we saw her get acclimated back into the music career and her world, and get people used to seeing her out and about, right? So that was a strategy for her to get people used to seeing Remy Ma with her family and her husband and her children and in the music world again, right? So she needed to plateau herself back in. But after the audience got used to Remy Ma, and after the audience is like, okay, yeah, we're familiar with her, she moved away from the franchise, right? And started doing her own thing. Now she did have her own spinoff with her and Papoose. They moved a little bit to North Carolina. Y'all remember that? Her and Papoose had their own little spinoff with the children and they moved down to North Carolina. And I was like, North Carolina? Now what y'all gonna do down there in North Carolina? But yeah, it was a cute little show that she had with her and Papoose and the children and how they were navigating this new world, this new adventure with their blended family and how they were making moves in the music world with her and Papoose and everything. So it was a good little show as well. So I enjoyed that little spinoff she had, but just to keep the audience engaged with her. But once again, she was using it just like K Michelle to revive her career, her music career. I'm gonna stay in front of the people so the people can still relate to me and rock with me with my music. 'Cause that's how K Michelle all these years from New York, Hollywood, from Atlanta, now Real Housewives of Atlanta, and now she's went from R&B to country. So she's using that to make sure that her audience is still connected to her. Oh, absolutely. Right. Okay. So when the franchises lose stars, right now you're losing audiences, you're losing power. Because when they lost Cardi B, that was a huge loss in ratings. That's a huge loss in the audience, right? Because people were like, "Oh, I was just here for Cardi B. Cardi B ain't gonna be on the Love and Hip Hop New York no more." Well, I ain't watching it no more if Cardi gonna be on there, right? Okay, Jocelyn left Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, right? She was a viral icon. She was a powerhouse. Stay with the mess. Always got something going on. If Joseline Hernandez ain't coming back to the show, I'm not gonna watch anymore because I'm here for the shenanigans. I'm here for the drama. She's not gonna be on there anymore, right? So people left when the stars leave, right? That's another reason why the franchises are ending as well because the ratings are starting to drop and that star power is going away as well, right? The audiences the audiences are changing, right? Like we said, the hip hop world, that's the 90s, the 2000s, right? Okay, that's my era. With the hip hop, the Jim Jones, right? The Olivias, the K Michelle's, okay? Uh the people that we know in the hip hop era, Young Jock, we know them from being in our era, right? We know that rap music. We've been to their tours. We've been to their concerts. Okay, we listened to their songs on the radio. But this younger, modern audience here, they may not relate to a Jim Jones. They may not relate to um a Joseline Hernandez, right? They may not relate to these rappers, Young Jock. They may not relate to a little Scrappy because that's not their people. They haven't grown up during that time. That was before them, so they're not related to them, and they feel like they don't have no connection to this love and hip hop cast, right? People now preferring like true crimes. Y'all people staying on true crimes, like they want to know what's going on in the court cases, like with Stefan and the private chef with those going on. Baby, we stayed in these true crime cases, the Diddy cases, the R. Kelly cases. Like people want to know real time what's happening with that. They want documentary style shows like 50 Cent are putting out all these documentaries on Netflix, right? Okay, people want to know what's happening with the P. Diddy. Okay. We want to know the documentary style. What, when, where, how, we want to know that, right? Relationship shows. A lot of people are into the relationship shows. You can find those as well. And then people are going on streaming based and storytelling. So Drewski does it best with Kai Sanat, the streaming base, where they're telling stories. We'll see them live. Hey, chat. Okay, they're live streaming. Okay, we're seeing stories unfold. They're having people over, but they're streaming it and we're there with them in real time. So the way people are watching TV is different than it is during a network, right? Where we're walking episode to episode. People want to see it real time. People want to see actually things happen in the live stream, in the live chat, right? Because it's like, okay, this is not going to be scripted because they're actually sitting here having this conversation with such and such right here. So they're actually live streaming on what's happening and that people are able to chime in and chat real time with the celebrities, with the stars, right? With whoever you're talking with, okay, and make it more believable. So that's the way things are happening now, right? Okay, streaming based storytelling. So, like social media, it is changing, right? Viewers, they said the viewers want people to be vulnerable, right? We want to see growth. Like we were talking about Rashida and Kirk with the whole Kirk cheating on Rashida year after year after year after year. We're like, okay, now wait a minute now. Baby, we done got tired, so tired of Kirk cheating on Rashida and Rashida crying, but not doing anything about it, right? We're looking for growth. We're looking for something to happen. What's gonna be the resolution in this, right? We can't keep crying over and over because Kirk is cheating on you, bringing in the baby on you, still talking that with Jasmine, right? We're going doing this year after year after year, right? Okay, we need to see some growth from it. What are we moving into next? Rashida, are you leaving or are you staying? If you're staying, we don't want to hear about this here cheating no more. What's the next step y'all doing? What's the next thing y'all doing, right? It can't be the same storyline over and over and over, right? We're looking for them to be authentic. Okay. We want the real issues, the real deal. Like we said back in the day, okay, with Jim Jones' mama. Y'all know he was a mama's boy. Okay. He loved his mama here and he could do no wrong in his mama eyes. But that Chrissy, ooh, Jim Jones' mama, she was like, "Girl, you getting on my nerve." And Chrissy was like, "His mama getting on my nerve." But those was his two women, and he loved them both dearly, right? But they will bump heads. They will bump heads, and that was a good dynamic, right? Okay, because you had the Jim Jones and the Chrissy, right? And then you had the Chrissy and the Mama Jones dynamic. That was a really good, real relationships, real up and down, right? That's what we wanted to see. Now, who can save? Who can save these franchises, the love and hip hop, like of the memorable cast out there? Who can save them, right? I would say anybody who is on tour, the Cardi B's, right? So Cardi B most definitely she could save any of these franchises. If she ever decided, which I doubt she would ever attach herself back to the Love and Hip Hop franchise or any of these reality TV shows again, but because she's out here touring, she's actively out here making albums, right? She's on IG. She's got the drama going on with Stefan Diggs, right? Got with the baby, with the ex-husband and the children. Like she's got a lot going on. So she most definitely could bring back a franchise that was failing or ending because she's got so much going on, right? She could take us behind the scenes of her tour on the show. Like who wouldn't tune in on a Love and Hip Hop where we're like, girl, on next episode, honey, we fitting to be in Atlanta behind the scenes at the Cardi B tour, and she's fitting to show us her costumes or her makeup and how she put the show together. People would really enjoy something like that, right? So if you got an artist who is out there like that and they are connected with a reality TV show, that will be huge, right? Really huge. Showing us the studio sessions, how she goes behind the scenes and makes her songs, okay, her writing process, her best or favorite producers or the producers she loves to use as well. People would love to see that as well. Okay, also entrepreneurship. Some of these artists are moving into entrepreneurship. What other businesses they have? Did they open up restaurants? Chicken wing restaurants, right? Okay, different things that they have going on, okay, that we may not know about. Showing us like, yeah, y'all, I got this wing stop. I'm gonna be a franchisee. Okay, just something I'm putting in my portfolio, and this is the my manager that's helping me put it up together. We want to know. We want to know what you have going on behind the scenes, and that will most definitely keep people viewed in as well, right? And then also, mental health is big. The stress of touring, the stress of a reality TV show, the stress of trying to hold down a relationship in the public eye, right? We've seen the marriages can come undone on these reality TV shows. Of course, Rashida and Kirk with him cheating on her and their marriage and him having a baby on her, right? Of course, we saw Nene Leakes and Greg, right? Their marriage fell apart where they got divorced, all right, for a few years and then they got remarried again. But we see the ups and downs of how hard a marriage is. Cynthia Bailey and Peter. Okay, they got married. It was the fiasco of their marriage, right? Where the mama and the sister was hiding the marriage license and everything, and they went through it. They got divorced on reality TV. Like we saw it all on the earlier years of these reality shows, and a lot of that is not being shown anymore. Like I said, Candy, I believe, quit Real Housewives of Atlanta because she knew her divorce was coming up and she did not want to show that part of it on TV, right? So she's not wanting to show her real life. Drew Sidora, she's going through an active divorce. All that drama they got going on, and we not catching none of this tea on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. None of it. Mm-mm. Yeah. So all this realness, we're not getting any of it, and how they're dealing with the breakups, the mental health of it all. We want to see how they're reacting it. How they're reacting to it, how they're handling all of it as well, right? Fans want evolution, baby. We want growth. Okay. We don't want to see the same storylines and the fake fights and the fake arguments over and over. We want to see what happened, how y'all getting through it. Okay. And what's the next step past beyond it. Let's keep life moving, right? Because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over, right? Okay. We want to see the realness. Now, I will say on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, with Pinky and her financial struggles with the bankruptcy, now that's really real as well. So yeah, yeah, absolutely, Glam. Okay. The financial struggles with her bankruptcy, what's going on to where she's scared to tell her husband and discuss the bankruptcy because he has his own businesses, Dave's Cheesesteaks. He has a franchise going on. So she's scared to tell him, and she's telling everybody else but the husband. And she was like, I don't want to burden him with what we have going on, right? The CFO apparently got indicted of her company. Like they got a lot going on. Like we want to see that. Go ahead and bring it on to the show. Let us see what's happening with it as well. So she's showing us a little bit about it on there. Like we said, divorce. We know Drew Sidor is going through divorce, but she's not really talking about it on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is crazy to me because it's really, really wild, right? Okay, they got something going on to where she's saying that the house is in foreclosure, is behind $25,000. Okay, and she has been kicked out of the family home. Like they got a lot of drama going on with Drew Sidora and the husband, but yet have we seen any of this on the Housewives of Atlanta? Mm-mm. We have not seen any of this, but she's actually going through this right now, but we're not getting any of this on the show. Have they put this on there? Okay, everybody will be tuned in because we want to know what's happening, what's going on. We are on IG, we on TT, okay, we on YT looking at the podcasters bringing us the real time news because we can't get it on the reality TV show because they're choosing not to disclose it, right? Which is their choice, but this is why we're tuning in to see what's going on in their lives because it's supposed to be a reality TV show, right? But we're getting all the tea and the drama on the apps, okay? The real time apps, right? Okay, so that's what we're getting a lot of that from. And also the pressure to be famous, right? They're getting a lot of pressure to be famous. So they pull back and was like, okay, the public opinion of me. I want to pull back because I got to think about my reputation, right? I don't want to mess up and say the wrong thing, and I don't want to face the critics, right? So being a reality TV star is a lot to handle, and a lot of people don't want the backlash, right? They don't want to be seen in a bad light because reality TV, you can have good days where you're the good person, right? Or you could be the villain, all right, on some years of the show. So it's up and down, up and down. You got to have the mental fortitude to push through, to press through, right? Right. So you do have to have a lot of grit to be a reality superstar, right? But yeah, y'all. So we hope something can come about. We hope that some of these cast members can get spinoffs of the Love and Hip Hop. I would love to see spinoffs. Probably who could hold a spinoff probably is Little Scrappy because he got a lot going on with his baby mamas, his ex Bambi, and the ex baby mama Erica Dixon. So I think he can hold a spinoff. I think he can hold his own. Most definitely, K Michelle, she can hold her own because she got a lot going on with the botched BBL, her new marriage with the dentist, Dr. Caston. Okay, she could have her own spinoff, and I believe she would do fine as well. Even Kirk and Rashida, okay, if they keep that drama going on with Jasmine and the raising of the children, as well, they probably can keep our own spinoff as well. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna see what the future holds for some of these cast members and who's gonna be able to get their own spinoffs and who's gonna be able to stay in front of the audience as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to the final season of Love and Hip Hop franchise. Okay, this fall on VH1. We're gonna see how they're gonna do it. They said it's gonna be a farewell season, so we're gonna be seeing some special people come in and come back and make some appearances. So I'm happy to see how they're gonna do this farewell season in the fall. All right, y'all. But y'all gonna tune in to the VH1, the farewell season of Love and Hip Hop franchise. I know I am. All right, but yeah, we'll be there trying to see who all coming back, who making special appearances. All right, but yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode where we talked about the ending of a franchise, Love and Hip Hop, y'all. All right, but I hope y'all have a blessed night. Again, my name is Tanya Marie here with Bold One for Life, where we want you to be unique, be different, but most importantly, just be you. Thank y'all so much for always coming on in the room and blessing your girl with your presence. I greatly appreciate it. Good night, glam. Thank y'all so much for coming on in, ladies. Good night, y'all. See y'all soon on these YouTube streets.